All right, so the Rangers win 3-1 over the Philadelphia Flyers this afternoon for the 18th game of the season as they improve now to 14-3-1. Did I get that record wrong? I don't know. Let me double check that. But regardless, the Rangers get a huge win here post Thanksgiving. I hope everyone in the chat here that is going to be stopping by, or if you're watching on replay, had themselves a good Thanksgiving as well. But yeah, 14-3-1 on the year now. So big win, big win. There's definitely a lot more good than bad in this game because I really only have two big gripes with this game. And one of them is more of like a gripe where it's like it's a good thing, but it's not. The other one is a problem that needs to be addressed a bit. And we'll talk about it because they started off very good in this game. Like, this was another game where the first period, dominant yet again. Second period rolls along. They looked good, but it felt like they took their foot off the gas a bit. And then the third period, things got a little bit shaky. But a lot of that had to do with the fact that this game, there was not a lot of time where this game was played 5-on-5 by the Rangers. And that's the thing. That's my gripe, is that the Rangers took a lot of penalties. Now, yes, there were a couple of soft calls here and there, but that went both ways. But regardless, the Rangers have to stay out of the box next game. And that's really my only gripe with this, because outside of that, there's a lot more positive. MIKA ZIBANEJAD. I said it before. I said how many post games in a row that maybe he's waiting for that Philadelphia game. He's got it circled on his calendar. And I said in the last post game too, maybe he didn't score 5v5 because he's waiting to go to to the place he loves to play and the team he owns in the Philadelphia Flyers, to go out and score 5v5. And he not only did it once, but he did it twice. And yeah, very good game from MIKA ZIBANEJAD. Could say that off the rip. And I'm very happy with that, because what have I been talking about ad nauseum? When this team does not have their second line produce like they did in this game. Now, don't get me wrong, the second line was still respectable. They definitely had one of their more down games than we've seen recently, but regardless, they were okay. But you need your team elsewhere to pick up the slack when those guys aren't producing, and the first line did just that. So yeah, we'll talk about the game. Before we do, leave a like on the stream if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. But let's talk about this, because there's a lot to talk about right off the rip, as the Rangers made it 1-0. Igor makes a nice save off of a faceoff, and then Chris Kreider somehow got this pass to Blake Wheeler, and then he goes up with MIKA ZIBANEJAD, makes the pass over, and it was a beautiful pass too. I thought Wheeler got robbed of being a star of the game in this one, but yeah, he makes it 1-0 as MIKA just taps it in for his first 5v5 goal of the year, 1-0. And the first line would stay out there for a bit. And yeah, they end up scoring again as the Flyers won the draw. Sanheim turns it over to Kreider, and as if they were on the same team, and then Chris Kreider just buries that 2-0. So after that, the Rangers were feeling good. They had momentum. MIKA looked so good. Like, the amount of times he was undressing guys on Philly, he looked dominant. And that's the MIKA ZIBANEJAD we need going forward if this team wants a chance night in and night out, because like I said, it's unrealistic to ask for production from your second line every single game. And MIKA ZIBANEJAD, he finally is here, and let's hope that this isn't just a one-off because he's playing the Flyers. Now we need to see it consistently. But yeah, he creates an odd man rush with Kreider, and then he ends up passing it. That got blocked, and that's really, if we're going to address the elephant in the room there with my second gripe with this game, that was it right there, and a prime example. Way too much overpassing the puck in this game, especially on odd man rushes, because don't get me wrong, it's great that the Rangers had those odd man rushes, but there were way too many times where guys were being selfless and they were passing the puck way too much instead of shooting it. Sometimes you need to just shoot the puck, or you just need to make a move by yourself, and there was way too much of that overpassing in this game, and that's really my only other gripe. But again, that's not really that big of a gripe, because it at least means you're creating the odd man rushes. It's just a matter of knowing when you should pass, knowing when you should shoot, or just trying to throw off the other team. That's really my only other gripe there. But Yeah, then we have this insane sequence of events. First, Sam Rosen calls the Washington Capitals the Washington Redskins, saying Garnet Hathaway used to play for them. Then Trouba just goes to war against pretty much the entire Philadelphia Flyers team. Goudreau jumps in and just decides to fight Garnet Hathaway. So, yeah, why not there? But yeah, that was just a crazy sequence of events. This game got very chippy at points, randomly too. It's like, I expect it with a John Tortorella coach team, but it's also just bizarre. But Panarin and Trocheck then got a 2-on-1 opportunity. Panarin tried to pass it across. Trocheck was thrown off by that. Again, a lot of passing. The Rangers kept generating a lot of offense. And then Farabee went off for a hooking. That call I thought was soft, but hey, I'll take it. Although, unfortunately, the Rangers didn't score on that. But they did create some opportunities there. They were getting to the net a lot more. And I loved how much they were actually trying to feed Chris Kreider for some deflection goals, because you're opening up more options there. Again, I want to see Mika Zibanejad net a one-timer at one point on the power play, but I will take that. And then Miller had a brutal shot on the power play that got blocked, but thankfully him and Lafreniere on the back check break up that opportunity. And yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know that Garnet Hathaway was a great linebacker for the Redskins at one point, but I digress. Panarin then passes it to Lafreniere, and Lafreniere with a great setup to Trocheck. Couldn't bury that. The Flyers then got a rush chance. Lindgren makes the save in the crease, which was huge for the Rangers in that moment. After that was a rebound chance from Konechny because Igor made the save there. Wheeler then went off for a tripping penalty. Konechny in the slot, and Lindgren again makes a beautiful play as he stick lifts him there. Igor then has two big saves on Tyson Forster on the penalty kill, but they kill that off. Goudreau then, this was another one where it confused me. Barclay Goudreau goes into the corner. The fourth line, by the way, very good offensive zone shift here. They did that a lot in this game. And the fourth line, I definitely owe them an apology because I was ripping them. You guys know that. And I felt they were unusable. These past few games, they have been a lot better, and they've been really changing my mind about how I feel. And Goudreau got brought down by Paling. They didn't even call that. But the fourth line, really good yet again. Lafreniere with a 2-on-1, then with Trocheck. Lafreniere fired high. And then Lindgren takes a huge hit. Coley comes in to his defense and then fights Hathaway, manhandles Hathaway, and then he gets an instigator and then got the 10-minute misconduct. I don't love Coley fighting there, and I know people do. I don't love it because how many times do we complain that Trouba throws a clean hit and then has to fight? Which, yeah, you take the instigator in that scenario, but how many times do we complain about that? And now, all of a sudden, yeah, Coley sticking up for his guy, which I appreciate when guys are sticking up for one another, but it's a small complaint that I have. It's just like, I don't know, I just feel like it's hypocritical that we always get mad when Trouba has to fight after a clean hit, and then that happens. But I don't know. I digress, nor do I really care because the Rangers won this game. But it was just annoying to not have Will Coley at points in this game, even though it didn't really matter. But the first period, it comes to an end, and I thought they had a pretty good first period. They allowed only like one chance, and that was the one with Forster, really. That was like the only chance that really bothered me, or the Lindgren one where he had to stop that in the crease. Outside of that, I thought they were good defensively, created a lot of chances off the rush. My only gripe was maybe like the breakout passes in that first period was sloppy at times, but they created a lot off the rush. The one thing that I wanted to see them do, because I love them capitalizing on Philly cheating the game a bit, I wanted to see them generate more off the cycle, and that we didn't really get in this game at all. They need to be a lot better off the cycle, and that's really like, if I'm going to nitpick another thing, is that they are not really generating too much off the cycle, which is fine if you're capitalizing on your odd man rush opportunities, but they need to start capitalizing on that. They need to stop overpassing on those odd man rush opportunities. And once they get there, we're going to look at this team like an offensive juggernaut, but we need to find a way to get to that point, or the Rangers need to find a way to get to that point. I don't know why I said we, like I'm on the team. Blood thinks he's on the team meme inserted there, but regardless, Kreider with a shot gloved by Hart. VC almost tipped in a shot by Schneider, and then Miller went off for a holding penalty. I thought that was a soft call too. But the Rangers kill that off. By the way, Miller, we'll talk about him. He did not have the best game, but Philly had another good shift. Igor had to make a blocker save, and then they end up when they broke the puck out, Panarin right by the bench. I think he was about to go for a line change. He got tripped up there. Nothing called. Miller turns the puck over, and then Brink sets up Paling in the slot, denied. That was way too good of an opportunity for Philly, but the Rangers would make it 3-0. This is a prime example of a good breakout, though. Lindgren to Gustafsson, up to MIKA. MIKA gives it to Wheeler, and then Wheeler finds MIKA, and he taps it in one-handed. Another 5v5 goal, and that makes it 3-0. Pitlick then throws a hit on York after. That could have been an interference, but the refs, again, were atrocious in this game on both sides. I don't think that's even a question, but Lafreniere, he had a chance moving in. Panarin was trailing him. He tried to set him up, couldn't get a good enough shot off. Again, need to start shooting on some of these odd man rush opportunities. That was really the thing that annoyed me the most in this game, is that they just didn't shoot enough on their odd man rush opportunities. But Pitlick had a high slot shot that went wide. Sanheim, though, took a penalty as he went off for high sticking. Trocheck set up Panarin in front. He tried to get to Mika instead of shooting it. I don't know why. Again, stop overpassing. I don't understand it, and I get it. You want to get Mika the hat trick, but you're only up 3-0. And granted, that's not necessarily the worst lead to have, but you want to really, really give yourself a cushion. I know you want Mika to get the hat trick, but be selfless in the moment. Mika could get a goal later. I don't know. Small complaints there, but VC almost buried one front, but the power play couldn't convert. And then this really annoyed me. The last 5 minutes of this period bothered me. They sat back way too much and invited way too much pressure from Philadelphia, like we saw in the third period against Pittsburgh, or not the third period. It was the third period. Yeah. Philly kept pressing, and it eventually backfired because Wheeler had to go into the faceoff dot. Atkinson goes in and gets the puck, gives it up to the point to Sealer. He throws one on goal, and Couturier tips it in. I don't remember which defensive pairing was out on the ice, but don't like the fact that Couturier was just able to deflect that way too easily. But Lindy then went off for a tripping penalty, and I was scared that this was going to be a meltdown. But they get into the intermission, thankfully, without allowing anything else. I thought, again, the first 15 minutes of the period, very good. Last 5 minutes or so, brutal end of the period. They tried getting way too cute with the puck, overpassing, like I said before, but again, inviting way too much pressure like we saw before in that game against Pittsburgh. That's something that needs to change as well, because how many times back in the AV days did the Rangers go in and they would get it a 2-3 goal lead, and then they would sit back way too much and invite pressure, and eventually it did not work out, and eventually it went against them. Need to start tightening up that sort of thing. But they did in the third period, which I'll give them credit for. Granted, we didn't get to see much of it, and that's the issue, because they took a mountain of penalties. Trocheck went in alone on a chance. He didn't have a lot of space, but he fired wide on that. Rangers kept getting pressure from all 4 lines. Again, though, the cycle was not generating enough chances, and that's why we saw them only get 3 shots in that third period, because they just did not generate enough off the cycle in this game. Trouba with a good block on a pass. Then Panarin comes in off the rush with a shot. That got saved. Igor turned the puck over, but then made up for it with a save. Lafreniere passes it to Trocheck and Trouba in front of the net. Neither one of them were able to bury that. And then Miller again went out of position yet again. Igor had to make a big save on Couturier, and then the rebound by Konechny, because Miller, don't know what he was doing behind the net there. But Keandre Miller did not have a good game. Again, we'll talk more about that. But Pitlick had a nice move alone. I didn't know Pitlick had hands like that. He overdid it a bit, but I didn't know. I didn't know that he had hands like that. But Gustafsson went off for a tripping penalty. Trocheck had a nice back check on a chance from Lautinen. Rangers, though, did a good enough job and killed it off. Then Bonino takes a delay game. 11 penalty kills in the past 2 games for the Rangers. Not going to cut it. And again, I know that people don't like when I nitpick, but it's the truth. You cannot take 11 penalties in the last 2 games. You just can't do it. Eventually, your penalty kill is not going to be perfect. Eventually, teams are going to capitalize off of that. You need to be a lot more disciplined than that. You need to. And we saw it at points earlier on in the year too, where they took mountains of penalties, and they need to be better with that. But the Rangers would get a shorthanded goal. MIKA feeds Kreider, and then he had a beautiful backhander, and never mind. It was offsides, no goal. But they do end up killing off the penalty, and the period would come to an end. The game would come to an end as the Rangers end up holding on to win. Again, I thought they played good 5v5. The problem is we didn't see enough of it because of the amount of penalties they took. They had 3 penalties that period, right? Or no, they had 2. But yeah, they had 2 penalties that period, but it felt like more. It felt like more for some reason. But I thought they were fine. And then obviously at the end of the game, Philly pulls the goalie, so it's odd man there. But I thought they did a good job. You had guys stepping up to block shots, Nick Bonino again, and they were playing a bit better in their own end. But again, the main thing is that they can't allow this much pressure every single game at points of the game, even though they have a lead. Like, they can't just sit back on their and play on their heels and sit back and play on defense. They need to continue to keep their foot on the gas and pressure, if I'm going to nitpick anything. And then outside of that, really the odd man rushes. But still, I'm very pleased with the effort for the most part, because realistically, they did what they needed to. They outplayed the Flyers a good amount, despite the shots being heavily in the Flyers' favor. I still felt they outplayed them, despite the deserve the win-o-meter saying Philly dominated this game. If you look at the 5v5 expected goals, it tells you that the Rangers were the better team. It's just, again, you can't take that many penalties, and that's really where it looks like the Flyers outplayed the Rangers in this game. But I digress. The fourth line, though, very good from them. Ryan Lindgren, Eric Gustafsson, probably Jacob Trouba too. There's not really anyone that had a bad game on that blue line except for Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller was horrendous in this game. And this is now, the 4th or 5th game in a row we're talking about Miller having a bad game. Not good. Not good. He needs to be a hell of a lot better, and we know he's capable of it. We need to see better from him. The second line wasn't necessarily the best in this game either. They had 4 high danger chances against, and they had 2 high danger chances for, which isn't horrendous, but you want to see them, again, capitalize on those chances, on those odd man rush opportunities that they're getting. But yeah, it just has to do with the fact that too much pressure came the other way. But outside of that, Kreider, ZIBANEJAD, Wheeler, that first line, very, very good. And where has this been the entire year at 5v5? Where has this been? Need to see it consistently before I believe it and buy into it. But regardless, very happy with them. I think them and then that Gustafsson-Lindgren pair were easily the best players for the Rangers this afternoon. But the fourth line too, don't get me wrong, they were very, very good. How many high danger chances? They had 1-4. All right. But Igor Shesterkin too, very good effort from him. Happy with that, because we know that Igor is not necessarily he had 1.82 goal save above expected. That you'll take, because there's obviously been concerns with Igor lately if he's still playing banged up a bit, but huge bounce back game. And I'm assuming Jonathan Quick gets to start tomorrow afternoon, but I don't know. Could be wrong. I'm glad at least they're traveling now, so they're not getting in late night, playing an afternoon game. At least they'll get some rest, and at least it's not a far commute from Philly back to New York. But 29 points on the year now for the Rangers, 14-3-1. I'm very pleased. Very pleased with the effort in this game. It's just, again, gotta stop overpassing. Gotta stop taking penalties. Those are my 2 complaints. Everything else, very good, because the offense is starting to generate more, and that's something that I've been dying for. And the defense, played pretty solid. Like they were good despite allowing as much pressure as they did. But yeah, let's get to the chat and see what you guys have to say. Another not pretty win, but I guess we'll take it. It wasn't perfect, but I still think the Rangers were the better team in that game, at least at 5v5, which I'll take that all day because of the fact that it's easier for the Rangers to stay out of the box and improve on that than improve their overall 5v5 game. So I'm not too mad. That was a solid game. When we got sloppy, our defense really saved us clogging the lanes. That I agree with. Not perfect performance, but we got the W. Great to see the first line look effective at 5v5. Too many penalties. We're trying to be way too cute, and I thought we looked shaky in the D zone. I think they were okay in the D zone. I think more of where the issues were is, again, the penalties. And the issues were really outside of like Keandre Miller going out of position a lot of the chances that they allowed against had to do with the fact that they were just more so sitting back. Like it's just really more them sitting back. I thought the D zone play was okay though. Trouba had a pretty good game again, and yet again lays a big hit early on, setting the tone. I love it. Yeah, Jacob Trouba has been he hasn't been an $8 million defenseman, and I don't think he ever will, but he's a lot like I'm a lot more comfortable with him right now than obviously I have been in previous years. And you guys know that I've been very critical of Jacob Trouba. So far, this has been his best season as a Ranger. Let's hope it continues though, because the last thing we need is inconsistency and then him to struggle down the stretch. Yeah, Trouba was great. They did good 5v5, just have to stay out of the box. Exactly my point. And then again, the only issue really 5v5 was the overpassing. Yeah, Keandre, third game in a row. I thought it was longer. I don't know why, but yeah, he's been a problem lately. He has not been good enough lately. Wheeler picking it up. Yeah, Wheeler had a very good game. And, you know, despite the 2 assists, it's easy to look at that and say it was his best game. It just genuinely was his best game thus far as a Ranger. It just was. The third line needs to produce, I agree, but to be fair, they didn't really have a lot of chances because Cooley was in the box a lot. Mika was asked about his scoring and if it was if he was concerned it took so long. He said as long as the Rangers are winning, no one is asking him questions, and he just wants to win, but he likes scoring. All right. I mean, I don't expect him to say any differently, but I'd like a bit of accountability of him being like, yeah, I need to keep scoring, but I don't know. I'm not going to be mad about that if he starts producing. So Laffy's being robbed of so many assists. His playmaking ability has been excellent this year. He's playing like a point per game player right now. He absolutely is. And I still wouldn't be opposed if they wanted to try him on power play 1 and yanking Trocheck off. And I know that people might be against it because the power play has been clicking. But with the way Laff is setting guys up and the way he's playing, I wouldn't be opposed to playing him on that top power play. And then you're really going to see him get even more points. Like you're right. He has been robbed of so many points this year. Yeah, Wheeler did shock me today too. Agree that we didn't generate enough off the cycle, especially when we were missing the net and overpassing on our odd man rushes. Yeah, 100%, Matt. What are your thoughts that Igor was today and Quick will be tomorrow against Boston? I was on board with that decision. I think that it makes sense to let Igor, who's been shaky and you don't know if he's still a little banged up, although they do, but we don't know. From an outsider perspective, it's like, okay, Igor might be shaken up still. He hasn't been consistent lately. Let him play a lesser opponent in Philly and then just let Quick get the game, which is so weird to say, but let him get the Boston game. Unless they play him back to back, they could. Great to see the PK be effective. However, taking 11 penalties in 2 games is not sustainable, especially if you come up against a good power play team like the Canucks and Devils. Yeah, exactly. Can't take that many penalties. Yeah, Lafreniere, he should be a point per game player right now. He easily should. Yeah, Trouba, if his cap hit was 6 million right now, you'd be like, yeah, that's a steal. But right now, it's like he's still a tad overpaid. But like, that's not to say that he's playing bad. Like, he's still playing very, very good right now. It's just for 8 million, obviously, you want a guy that could do things on like he could quarterback a power play and do things like that. But still, he's playing very good. Like, I'm not gonna be complaining about Trouba's cap hit right now. Yeah, Jones and Schneider were not noticeable, which is usually a good thing because when they are noticeable, usually it's because they're a dumpster fire. I agree. Rangers missed the net a lot, along with overpassing, tilted the shots on net a bit. I think shots sometimes are misleading. I agree. That's why I like to look more at some of the other analytics that tell you more of the story of how some of the chances were. But yeah, I agree. The Rangers, they did miss the net a lot. They missed the net a lot in this game, and the shots could have been a lot closer if they hit the net, or again, if they didn't overpass too. Like again, if they shot on some of those odd man rushes instead of passing, could have been looking at a closer game in terms of shots. Trouba was in beast mode today. I agree. Uh, Zibanejad, Laffy in the fourth line were great. I agree with that. Agree with that entirely. But Quick is the number one goalie in the entire NHL. Yeah, I mean he's been very good. Let's hope that he continues and stays consistent. They played well and look like they don't burn all the fuel. They definitely save some for tomorrow. You could look at it that way. You could, but I still think that there's been way too many games where they've allowed too much pressure coming the other way. Yet they can't convert offense the last 3 games, even MIKA for the hat trick. Yeah, I mean, it should come, though, if they're going to keep getting the rush opportunities. You hope that it will start to come. Yeah, Igor had a couple plays that stressed me out in this game. This looks like a team able to win pretty and pretty ugly. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Heedle's finally skating. That's the good news. Philip Heedle skating on his own, I think, right now. I don't think he has with the team, but still a very good sign considering we had questions if he would even return this regular season. So very happy to hear that. I want to start seeing them look for the low pad shot on the odd man rushes instead of trying to force a pass across. That I agree with, because then that could be an effective way to throw teams off and capitalize on those chances. I agree. Yeah, the first line was the first line tonight or this afternoon. It's weird not saying tonight. This afternoon. Let's see what's happening right now on Twitter. I guess it's just a lot of the games right now going on. Football's on too for whatever reason on a Friday afternoon. I know it's a holiday weekend, but what are we doing with football on? Do you think we're going to hold out Fox a little longer as a precaution if we keep winning? Not another month, but maybe a few extra games. I don't think so, because of the fact that they're in a spot where I don't think they need to keep Fox out. Like, he's been skating, he's been with the team. It's not like a thing where he's still a little banged up and they're rushing him back. Like, if he's ready, he's ready to go. I think he is ready to go, to be honest. It's just the fact that they can't play him right now. So I could be wrong, but I don't think they're going to keep him out any longer than that that 29th, the game on the 29th. I think he's eligible to return that night, or it's the game after. Freak, what's going on? But we have 35 of you guys in the chat. I would appreciate you guys have not already on the stream. Just a warning, game show. In attendance for the game now, so going to be a later post game show. Thought I'd give you guys a heads up there. And I don't know if I'm gonna be doing stuff after the game either. So if I am, I'll do the post game at night. But if not, I will do it right when I get home. Play Igor tomorrow. He needs to get in a groove. He gets better with more playing time. I can agree with that. I'm cool with whatever decision they make tomorrow. I trust either goalie tomorrow. That's a good question, Freak. I might have to talk to Statboy Steven to get a prospect update stream going. C-Jets and I have tried to get Ricky Milner on. Well, more so him. I don't want to give myself credit. More so C-Jets has been trying to get Ricky Milner on for a show. If we can, he would be the best for that. But if not, we'll obviously get Statboy Steven too, who is very good himself at that type of stuff. So, although Ricky Milner is more narrow with the AHL, where Statboy Steven, he would cover everywhere for us. If you would have told me we would have been 6-1-1 in the first 8 games where Fox and Hedel went down, I would have bit your hand off. That's a new one. But yeah, I wouldn't have bit your hand off. I wouldn't have believed anyone either, though, if they told me that. Like, I would have thought they would be a solid team, but I did not think that they would be 6-1-1. Like, I didn't think, again, I keep saying it, but I did not think going into the year, like, I was an optimist going into the year with Laviolette behind the bench, but I thought for sure, I'm like, it's going to take a while to adjust. They might start off slow and then heat up come November. Here we are. Here we are. And again, let's just hope, though, that they're not peaking early and this isn't a New Jersey Devils type situation like last year. But yeah, let's but so far, very good. And then Fox coming back is going to be huge, especially because then Gustafsson could play again with Schneider, and I just feel more comfortable that way. I'm amazed how you keep track of particulars. I get too excited. I'm not a good multitasker. Corey, you're great at paying attention to particular things and still getting into the game. Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that. Sometimes it is very difficult, especially because I'm trying to keep track of things because I'm a very forgetful person. I really am. I don't have the best memory, so sometimes that's why I read off notes most of the time. I jot things down. It's like sometimes I'll have to rewind the TV and if I miss something and make sure that I'm paying attention and make sure that I get every little detail possible. It's not the easiest thing. It really is not, but I try my best with it. Sometimes I feel like I still am a little off with things or I reach with things, but I try my best. I try my best, but I appreciate that, Bruce. That means a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of positives with the prospects, especially Gabe Perreault, which I was a big fan of the pick from the moment it happened and totally wasn't against it. And he totally isn't shutting me up right now or anything from making me look stupid because I was a believer from day one. I have actually never heard of that expression, to be honest with you, Matt. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate that. Are we in first if we win tomorrow in the league? Yeah. Yeah, if they win in regulation tomorrow, has to be in regulation. If the Rangers win in regulation tomorrow, and I don't know if Vegas plays tonight or tomorrow, but Vegas would have to lose, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, they'd have to lose both of those games. Here, let's say they play Not tonight, it looks like. Where is it? No, not tonight. They play tomorrow. So Vegas would have to lose tomorrow, and the Rangers would have to win in regulation to be at the top of the league. I thought we would be fighting for the second spot in our division, uh not for the President's Trophy. Yeah, I felt like they were going to be the second team in the Metro. There's still time for things to shake out differently. Let's hope that things stay this way, but yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, I'm okay with Igor getting the nod. Again, I'm good with I'm good with either. We definitely need a prospect update with Steven. Would be a good stream. Yeah, I gotta get Steven on for a stream. Juju, what's going on? How you doing? Let's go Rangers indeed. Let's go Rangers indeed. They are killing it. Killing it right now. And it's crazy how usually playing Boston, I get worried tomorrow. Like, I'm not saying that they're 1,000% gonna win, but like I at least I'm rolling into the game feeling like they have a chance to win, which is something that's not usually the case. Like even under Gerard Gallant, even though they would win a lot of games and they were a playoff team, it's like every time they played Boston, it's like it felt like they were gonna get waxed that game. As long as they're in the game, that would tell me a lot. So let's hope. I'm gonna wrap things up here though. 4:30. We have 40 of you guys in the stream. I appreciate all of you that stopped by. Again, I hope every single one of you had a good Thanksgiving. Go ahead, do your Black Friday shopping if you have not already. But yeah, thank you guys so much for showing up to the stream. Leave a like on your way out if you have not already. Love all of you guys. I appreciate all of you guys. And yeah, we'll be back at it again tomorrow against Boston for another post-game stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Rangers.